and judge him on his plan. The plan, he said, was to win the pin end of the line. What does he mean by that? He means the downwind end, the end that's going to be closest to the bottom of our TV screen. That's because from the top of the line, they're struggling to get full pace, but Burling wants it too. He tries to turn inside the Canadians. Robertson defends, cuts down across the Kiwis. Now, here we go. What's the next play? Robertson's well positioned, but New Zealand will have a run at him, and De La Pierre looks like he's going to go on his own, and he's going to wind it up on that French boat now. New Zealand, one more turn down. They attack the Canadians again. Does Robertson defend, or does he open things up? It's 9 seconds to go. Canada must keep clear of New Zealand. Burling's timed this well. France are coming at pace. How's your timing? Peter Burling at the bottom end of the line. Perfect from the Kiwis there on the inside. They have control. They should lead from here at Mark 1, but there's going to be some tight rules incidents. France must keep clear of Canada. Canada must keep clear of New Zealand, but the Canadians are out the back.
The French are the fastest boat on the course right now, over 80 kilometers an hour of speed. The Kiwis also very quick and have the inside.
At mark number 1, it is the Kiwis. The black foils are up and foiling with pace. Canada sits on the inside, France on the outside. Stevie, this is a big moment, leg 2 of 7.
Well, Robertson called the best place to start, but he just couldn't quite execute it. Burling's timing was absolutely spot on. He attacked him with 10 seconds to go. There was no defense left. Now, big decision at the bottom here. Do you save a maneuver on this leg with a left turn, or we've seen the Kiwis make a gain by heading back towards the crowd? It'll be interesting what Burling and Took choose to do. This is the first time they've actually had a choice. Looks like they're going to keep it simple with a left turn. Canada will follow. I anticipate France is surely going to look to split the course. No, they're going to stay with them. Their whole fleet are staying tight, and if you're on board that New Zealand boat, you are over the moon to see that.
New Zealand, the winners of race number 1. Canada won race number 2. And France won race number 3. So all the winners are out there today, and Canada's the first to turn away.
Well, yeah, they're just as soon as you're sailing behind someone, Todd, you're in disturbed wind. You've effectively got less potential horsepower. Someone's blocking the wind in front of you there, and that's why Canada have chosen to get out, so they can sail their own race, sail with their own speed. But it was a bit of a loss early on the leg for the Canadians, and France, they're going to be struggling to overtake the New Zealand boat by just following at the minute.
At the boundary, it is the Kiwis, the black foils. They make the turn. Content De La Pierre and the French, they sit in second on the course as it stands right now. Did Phil Robertson make the right call to split away early?
We'll find out in a minute. It doesn't look like a great call at the moment. It looks like the wind's rotated right. He's got a big left shift at the top. He's really turned away from those lines, but he's struggling. Look how slow they are. The wind's got light on that left-hand side, and that's what Lisa told us. There's more wind towards the bottom of our screen. Should be good news for France and New Zealand, and it certainly looks it at the minute. Canada off the foils.
And so far, we are seeing the Kiwis sailing beautifully. Out of the maneuvers, they are accelerating so much quicker than the French, and that's saying something for the boat that previously was the masterclass.
Well, yeah, but the New Zealand boat spent most of the day sailing in disturbed wind. We've not really seen what they can do, and right now, look at that. That was a massive loss, that extra maneuver. The wind got light on Canada, and they now need a mistake from those 2 lead boats. They're just at the minute that both teams, New Zealand and France, are stretching as wide as they can on the course. They're sailing right from boundary to boundary. That strategically is to save maneuvers. Every time you turn the boat like this, you lose speed, you lose distance. So if you can minimize maneuvers, you get yourself sailing around the course pretty quick.
But look at the speed of Canada right now. It's increasing. Now at 58 kilometers an hour, where the Kiwis are going 43. The French drop now to 39.
Yeah, they're just sailing a slightly faster, wider angle at the moment. Todd, New Zealand is desperately trying to make it up to this next turning mark without another maneuver. That's the main priority for the Kiwis at the moment. France chasing in, but New Zealand, if they can get round here, I imagine France will follow them, and they'll feel very much in a controlling position on New Zealand. It's all about keeping it tidy.
Now it's the Kiwis on to leg 4 of 7 here in the event final of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix, trying to win their home event. France does in fact follow the Kiwis, and now it is Canada that has lost distance despite the speed, and the speed picks up for the Kiwis. Look at this, approaching 70 kilometers an hour.
The French currently with the fastest average speed around the course, slightly closing that gap with the Kiwis, but will it be enough?
That's just classic of the French. They like to sail the boat fast, but normally the consequence of sailing the boat fast is you're sailing a little bit more distance. It's always a little way up. Do you sail less distance or do you sail faster? And New Zealand at the moment, what I like about the French right here is the Kiwis continually are making the right moves. So don't do the wrong move and give them the race easily. At the minute the French are staying there, once we're halfway up the next upwind leg, De La Pierre's going to have to try something. He can't continue to follow the Kiwis, but at the moment it's not a terrible strategy because you just keep the pressure on the Kiwis and you see if they're going to crack under that pressure.
It's certainly something that does not happen very often, Peter Burling cracking under pressure. But to your point, Stevie, this really is the first race that they've had this all by themselves out in front, no one to have to deal with. As Lisa talked to Peter Burling, having that extra space, wasn't really confident about their starts, but today it seemed to work, and here they are at gate number 4.
Yeah, here go the French. Now he's making his move. De La Pierre chooses to do the extra manoeuvre down here, splits away. Burling turns right back towards the fans, and this is it. This is De La Pierre's move. He's splitting the course. He's hoping for extra, but look at that. They're a bit high. They're a bit loose on that rounding. It was a tricky rounding, but they're messy. They're messy on the French boat there. They've got slow. Should be good news for the Kiwis, but when they next come back together, whoever is ahead, I think, will look to take the win here because they're going to have a big advantage.
Currently, we have slightly more pressure on that offshore side, as we've seen before with the French, but not a lot.
No, and it looks like a gain to me to New Zealand, to be perfectly honest right now. Looks like potentially a 100-metre move. I think the French had to do that. I've got no problem with that from De La Pierre. He needed to try something, but they just didn't execute it well. It was a messy rounding at the bottom. Not the easiest thing to do, the jibe and then turn the boat up. 2 manoeuvres in a row, but they just didn't do it smoothly. 50 metres is now 120 metres. This is the New Zealand black foils. This is their chance to bring it home in front of the fans.
Now, if they take the win here, it's not just the event that they are going to win. They are going to take the lead on the overall season leaderboard.
And a very tidy maneuver there by the black foils. The Kiwis and their sponsors looks like they are bringing it home. The lead now has shrunk down to 100, so the French have picked up about 50 meters, but again, they are running out of real estate as the Kiwis will get through this next gate. Then they'll head back up the course. Phil Robertson getting back into play, but he has run out of time as well. He's got a massive deficit to second and first.
Yeah, Burling did that extra maneuver there to ensure that he controls the final decision into the gate, so he was happy to sacrifice a few meters to give himself tactical control here. He's going to turn the boat now one last time before this top gate, right on top of the French, and then it should now be one turn downwind and they'll be lined up for the final mark. So yeah, lost a bit of distance to gain a lot of control there. Classic, safe match racing move from Burling on the French, and it's advantage New Zealand. De La Pierre and the French crew need a Kiwi mistake to have any hope of getting the win here now.
How easy are we making it? Okay, come down. France round right turn now.
So France follows New Zealand, hoping that Peter Burling and his team possibly make a mistake, have a sloppy maneuver, and they can capitalize. But right now it is over the 200 meters that the Kiwis have the lead. They have waited a long time for this one, and they are on their way to claiming the title here in Christchurch.
Last maneuver here, Todd. Can they nail it? The boat's smooth. Look how level that platform stays. Both hulls similar distance above the water, silky smooth. They then tip the boat slightly on top. There's a lot of water over them, avoiding that mark. Oh, that was a little bit scrappy by the Kiwis. Oh, but the French are scrappy in the background as well. They're up in the air, maybe fatigue. It's been a long day out here on the water, but right now the black foils are locked back in. They've got their heel locked back in. The French are charging, but it's going to be too little too late on board this French boat. Going to be second for France as the black, hear the crowd on the shore. That sounds like half of New Zealand standing up to applaud them.
And they bring it straight in towards the Adrenaline Lounge here in Littleton Harbor. All of Christchurch on their feet. Say hello to your winners. It's the black foils with the win.
Nothing the Kiwis like more than a hometown win, and France bring it home in second. Quentin de La Pierre, well, he's a pragmatic guy. For the season, massive, massive moment for the French. That could put them back into the top 3, back into that dream of making the grand final in San Francisco later in season 4. But have a look at that for the New Zealand crew. Burling, he's pumped. The fans are pumped. What a day's racing.
And look at the size of the crowd that turned out. They were disappointed yesterday that there was no racing. Certainly worth the wait today. Action from the very start, and it is the hometown favorites, the Black Foils, that get the win here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix.
If you can turn the boat away from the wind, pop the boat on the foils nice and quickly. These new T-foils just want to accelerate, but you need that little bit of space to do that. So can you find space in the last seconds?
USA first into the start box as we go under a minute to go. The 4th and final race of the day here in Auckland at the Rolex SailGP Championship.
But there we go, blue, pole position, suggested place to be. That's the optimum place to start there, is right in the middle to lower half of the line, and we can see the USA are set up well for that. But they're early back. They're there for everyone else to hunt. And here comes the hunter. Burling on board New Zealand is coming in with 35 seconds to go. Expect him to spin the boat fairly soon. Going to try and find a little gap in the middle of the line. He's looking to foil out of here. Great Britain, they're late. Germany late as well. Italy out the back. I think United States and New Zealand well positioned at the moment. But Martini Grail on board Mubadala Brazil. She's moved into a nice position with 17 seconds to go. It's a real tussle at that favoured end of the line, and it's all going to come down to acceleration. But New Zealand, they have the pole predictor on them, and I love their position right now. It's 5 seconds to go to the line. Here he comes, the New Zealand crew winding up. How's your timing, Pete Burling? Perfect out of the middle of the line, and when he needed to deliver, he's delivered. Here they go. Hometown heroes are going to need to be fast to roll over the top of the Swiss and the Australians.
And it's the heavy hitters as they approach mark number 1 in the final race of the day. It's the Kiwis and the Aussies as they reach to see who gets the whole shot, and it will go the way of the Black Foils.
Oh, the sprint leader, Rolex sprint leader there, Peter Burling and the New Zealand crew. Josh Jr. said we've got to get to mark 1 in good shape. Well, that's the way to do it, and now they look relaxed.
Unjudged, good, I think. Out, not far, is it? Average phase here, more pressure on boundary. 2, 5, 4 down.
Sailing into a nice patch of breeze here. Now, can they stick a nice smooth manoeuvre now that they're out in front? Looks good for me to go straight into a left turn out of this manoeuvre. New Zealand manoeuvre the boat well. All the boats staying on the foils. That little bit more wind making it easier here. USA again, a little slip up in the manoeuvre. Bottom of our screen. They're off the foils. Another error in the manoeuvre there. They're hurting so bad on that US boat in these manoeuvres.
Oh, the Americans were in a top 5 position, and they will drop back to the back of the fleet. And there you see it once again, the heavy hitters going toe-to-toe. It's New Zealand and Australia 1 and 2, Canada in 3rd, with Brazil in 4th, Switzerland, the winners of the last race. They decide for the other side of the course at the DP World Gate.
Oh, look how much that mistake hurts. They're right out the back here. Spain in 9th, Britain in 8th. This is going to tighten up that top of the leaderboard. Australia first to manoeuvre away out of that side of the course. New Zealand stretching things out. There's a little bit more space on that left turn, and Burling will be trying to use that. Keep the boat fast, try and minimise manoeuvres, but on the bottom of the screen here, Switzerland, they're in one of those left-hand shifts that Peter Burling would talked about, sailing nicely up the ladder line in good breeze, gain for Switzerland. But Australia have the right of way, and Schneider has to yield.
Australia, yeah? Pressure in 2, that's it. 1, pressure now.
I think what's interesting there, you heard Seb asking Morgier, you know, is there anyone else there? It's so hard to see the boats on the other side of the course, and what they'd love to see is our SailGP insights there up in the Oracle cloud, and what they'll see is the breeze is quite even across the course right now, not much in it. Australia potentially making a small gain on New Zealand here.
2, 1, 4 down. And turning.
Kiwis cool and calm as they approach gate number 3. Peter Burling and company desperately in need of a win here. Remember, New Zealand got a 4th in race number 1. They got an 8th in race number 2. And of course, they backed it up in race number 3 with a performance that had them really thinking that they were better than maybe the results showed it, finishing in 6th.
There you go, nice upwind leg there. Really nice upwind leg by the Swiss. Of course, they won race 3. If they could back it up, that would put them right back in the mix after a disappointing start to the day.
Swiss, one of the 5 teams in the league who have yet to win an event. And they look very good right now. After a win, they currently sit in third place. And here's where the traffic jam starts.
Oh, what are Brazil going to do here? They're going to go wide of the mark. They've lost it. Runners have gone on. They're in the water.
This is
Big
the
moment.
umpire's penalty. Italy relative Canada. Window boat not keeping clear.
Oh, Brazil have got to go all the way round here. It's going to be a massive loss for Mubadala Brazil. They're going to have to spin right round. They got themselves way out of position there. Marcini Grail had to avoid the mark. They look well positioned, but they still got to go back through that gate, as we can see Denmark. Rockwool Denmark up to 5th as New Zealand stretch away. Can Burling and Took deliver under pressure? Well, it looks like it at the moment. They needed a race to go well in race 4. Well, it can't go a lot better than a 100, 200-metre lead over the Australians.
And it is the black foils with a great speed as they make the pass through the gate, nearly 80 kilometers an hour, with a huge lead now over the Australians, who won race number 2. Nice parity across the board. You've got Great Britain winning race number 1, the Aussies win race number 2, and the Swiss win race number 3. And it looks like the Kiwis may in fact send the fans home happy here on Saturday, Stevie, with a possible win.
Yeah, look at that. It's tight in the pack, Todd, isn't it? But big game for Great Britain, 9th, and they're up to 4th at the moment. They're going to go in and have a little wave to the fans in the shoreline there, see if they can find some more breeze. But Rockwool Denmark split the course with Great Britain. North Star Canada and Spain, they're so tight. Spain are going to be slow out of this mark. Could be advantage Canada.
Yeah, we're good, Spain. No issues, Abby.
Quick moving race here. This is the last race of the day, leg 5 of 7. New Zealand got the whole shot. They have maintained that lead with Australia hot on their heels.
Yeah, massive moment for the British in this race. To go from right at the back of the pack up to 4th would be absolutely huge. Huge race for New Zealand. Well, and Australia, they just look ominously quick at the moment, don't they? They're sailing so well. Coming up to the last downwind leg, Todd, I can't wait to see what this crowd does if the Kiwis can hang on. They're going to blow up if they can deliver on this final race of the day.
And how about that Rolex chasing time right now? It's between Australia and New Zealand. Right now it's saying 21 seconds, the difference between the two, as the Kiwis trying to stay away from Tom Slingsby and the Aussies, and a last second change as they will opt for the left-hand side.
Yeah, couldn't quite make it round that. Trying to keep the boat speed in. It's important with these new foils you stay fast. As soon as you get slow, these foils want to let you go. There's a lot of technology involved there. They're having to play the cant. They can move the foil forward and backwards. They can move it in and out to change the power potential on the boats. Do they use the rudder downforce? So many things for these sailors to think about, and so much for them to learn. But right now, well, New Zealand, they're heading straight down the course. This one looks like it's going to be exciting for those Kiwi fans on the shoreline as the black foils look set to deliver.
Massive crowd, sellout crowd today as SailGP comes to Auckland for the very first time after 5 seasons. And how about the Swiss, Stevie? Sebastian Schneider, they got a taste of the Victory Cup and they like it. They're currently sitting in 3rd, top of the fleet.
Well, I was about to start talking about the pressure that would be on them after the first 2 races. 10th and 11th in the first 2 races. And they're backing that up potentially with a 1 and a 3 right now. So, oh, tight moment there. Slingsby just about keeps clear. Oh, and he's in the water. The Aussies are probably going to save it and hang on for that second. But yeah, delivering. Here come the Kiwis.
And as they make their way around the last turn, it will be the Emirates winning moment going the way of the hometown fans. Give it up for the black foils. The Kiwis win race 4.
That's going to look very pretty on the overall standings to pull out that Emirates winning moment at the very end of the day there, Burling. His hand goes up, Took's hand goes up, Liv Mackay, she'll be happy, but probably the happiest team of the day is going to be the Aussies, Tom.
Yep. What a report card for the Aussies. They go 5th, tough race in race number 1, then they get the win, then they back it up with a 2nd and another 2nd.
Strong day there. It's tight back in the pack here. Schneider and the Swiss, they get 3rd. Emirates Great Britain, well, that could be huge to salvage a 4th in that race there for Emirates Great Britain. Rockwool Denmark consistent, very consistent, but they're going to need to start to sparkle a little bit more if they're going to hope to make Sunday's final.
Denmark and Canada go 5 and 6. And Italy, wow, they've had a strong race as well here at Auckland.
And it's tight on the line. Here come Italy. They're going in at double speed. I think the Italians might sneak the Spanish on the line. Oh, Ruggero Tita. Perfect judgment by Red Bull Italy there. Dives across the line. It was like Usain Bolt giving us a dip finish on the 100 meters there. Spun in front of Diego. And another point game for the Italians.
Germany, after having some mechanical issues and missing a race, they bounced back with a 9th, so good for them. And the USA will finish in 10th with Brazil, who missed that gate up there. Another dip by the Americans.
Oh, it's getting pretty loose out there. It's gusty, it's shifty. Big show for the fans. What a day's racing that was. Brazil, tough race, coming home in last place. Already up and running, very different strategies. New Zealand, Denmark. Denmark looked late to the party. Disappointing day yesterday, a lot of technical problems, and they look well out of position right now. Australia, typically first to turn back. They love to control the start. So for me, Australia's got good control, but it could be New Zealand with this timed run in behind everyone that lined things up well. 35 seconds to go. People have played their cards, and we're looking to make things happen. And Britain, Great Britain, they're only just on our screen. They really are out of position. 27 seconds to go. Australia turns the boat down. He looks to accelerate across the fleet. Start line's very close. Whole fleet close in. New Zealand and Australia well positioned at the moment, but it's going to be a case of getting the acceleration right. There's the pole position. Now the French have blocked off New Zealand. Aggressive by De La Pierre. What's that going to do? Opening a door potentially for Great Britain to dive in at the end. 5 seconds to go. How's the timing on the line? Oh, it's perfect from Australia there, and the Australians are going to be so fast with a better angle to Mark 1. They should lead the fleet away.
Race number 4 is off and running here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Christchurch, and it is the Aussies in desperate need of points. It'll get to Mark 1 first.
Really good start by the Australians there, and Denmark, well, I thought he'd left it too late, but Sejerstad, by the skin of his teeth, he gets second at Mark 1, and he's got to drop back though. That penalty's going to really hurt him here. Could open the door for Jimmy Spithill, was the first to turn away as New Zealand. Now they've been reading this course well, and they're looking for space. They move away from the fleet. Look how close that racing is there, Todd. All the crews get to this boundary in front of the fans very quickly. It gets pretty tight on the course there, but quite orderly today. And good news for Australia. Well lined up for gate 2. You've got to think from here they'll try and keep it simple. Straight through the gate with the left turns, my guess for Australia. But where in New Zealand? Have they found more wind? Have Great Britain found more wind on the left-hand side of the screen?
And we've got to point out the hazards in the middle. You cannot go between those markers. You have to go around them. It is the Australians that will get to gate number 2 first. The Americans in a drag race with France. Stevie, who's got the right of way between the Americans and the French?
The French have to keep clear at the moment, but when they hit that yellow circle, the French will be entitled to room on the inside. So it's tight moment here, but the French have held on. They now have the right of way. Jimmy Spithill must give them space to round.
Gate 2, it's Australia, France, and the USA here in race number 4. It's Super Sunday, everyone jockeying for points and position.
First to split away, there's Great Britain. Look at those dark blotches in the water. That is seaweed. That's what Tom Slingsby was talking about yesterday. There seems to be a lot of seaweed in the water, so the crews are going to need an eye out for that as well. As Canada, they were on fire yesterday, but this is a disappointing start for Phil Robertson's crew. And Sejerstad, wow, that penalty, second all the way back to 9th. What a painful penalty.
On board the Canadians, still calm voices. Phil Robertson, their driver, trying to move them up the ladder. And there you see the leaders right now. Australia out in front, Great Britain now in 3rd, France in 2nd. USA now has moved up to 2nd place, so great run for the Americans and Jimmy Spithill.
Look at the angle Great Britain's having to sail here. They're having to avoid that no-go zone, and he's sailing. He's not making any progress up the course. What a mistake by the British crew. They've got to go all the way around that post. Disaster. And right now, New Zealand, they've got space, and they're stretching away.
Still seeing the best speeds here by the Australian team. 55 kilometers per hour averaging up this leg here. Definitely no seaweed on those rudders today.
Americans having to dip behind the French. And that will cost them as New Zealand now inherits 3rd place. The Americans dropping back to 4th. This is race 4. We're on leg 3 of 7. One more fleet race to go. And then only the top 3 teams will race in the last race of the day.
Well, at the moment with the things are here, Slingsby.
Just trying to do a bit of avoiding of these weed patches. It's coming down a bit lower.
His lesson from yesterday, by the look of it, trying to avoid that weed. As we see now the French up to 2nd. Again, they found some space and they've got plenty of speed. But New Zealand, top of our screen there with Great Britain, they've got the right of way. Jimmy Spithill needs to be confident he's clear ahead here.
52 kilometers an hour for the Americans. They sit in third. Everyone chasing the Australians. And remember, Australia finished in 9th place to wrap up yesterday, but they did have two first good races going 4 and 2.
100% fly time at the moment for the top 3 teams. Australia still leading the way with speed, 52 kilometers an hour versus France slightly slower and the USA a little bit further behind that. But brilliant sailing. They've got a much more open course today, so really able to get those speeds up.
I think it just highlights as well, the boat ahead should always be faster. They're sailing in clear wind, there's no disturbed air, and those Australians know how to make the most of that. Slingsby there, he tacks that yellow line. That's what we call the lay line. That means he should make it to gate 3 with no more changes, but they're struggling to lift the board. Look how slow that board was coming up on board Australia there. Well lined up for gate 3, and if we go back to yesterday, Todd, the position at gate 3 was pretty definitive, so it'll be interesting how that plays out from here.
Constant comms across the board on board Australia. They are the 2-time reigning and defending champions of SailGP, trying to make it the 3-peat here. Can they hold off the Kiwis and the French?
Really nice rounding there. As we can see, it's really tight here coming into gate 3. Great Britain, USA are close, and Switzerland are going to have the right of way. Jimmy Spittle on USA needs to keep clear. New Zealand up to 2nd. The French just sneak round 3rd, and it's so tight in at the top here. Ainsley tries to dive inside the US. Oh, it was tight. I think they all negotiated that really quite well through that moment there, but the USA must keep clear of Ben Ainsley's Great Britain here. And back in the pack, Canada 8th, Spain 7th.
On leg 4 of 7, let's go down on the water and Lisa Darmanin.
Well, Todd, because of the wind direction, it is more consistent across the course, but the teams had no practice to figure out this racetrack. But what I'm seeing right now is there's a beautiful wind funnel along the shore where that crowd is, so there are big gains to be made out there. It's going to be a tough day if you're not out in front to navigate between the boats and those pylons.
So everyone right now chasing Australia. There you see their lead is over 300 meters. And it is the Kiwis that are starting to reel them in, Stevie. How about that? If they can get in touch with them, we'll have ourselves a head-to-head matchup between Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, leg 4 of 7, that's a massive lead for Slingsby here. I don't see him letting this slip, but they split at the top, and there was a gain to the people on the crowd, and that's probably reassuring for Lisa.
Throwing back to that last leg, we can see that the Aussies and Kiwis were neck and neck with pace, both averaging 50k an hour, but the Aussies were doing less distance again, so making gains all the time.
We've seen this happen before with Australia having a bad race, and they come back and put on a stellar performance just to get into that final. Stevie, we know what happens when you get Australia into a 3-boat race. They're always the odds-on favorite.
They are, but generally speaking, the Kiwi boat's been fast here. As we see the French and New Zealand, France has the right of way. What does Burling do? He chooses to play the safe option, doesn't push it. He's going to split left. He'll have clear wind on a left turn here, but the French, Contant de la Pierre's going nowhere. They're sailing that boat very, very fast. USA and Switzerland, so close here. Wow, that was such a late manoeuvre here.
This is the umpires. Penalty USA relative Switzerland. Port tack boat not keeping clear.
So he needs to drop back behind the Swiss here, Jimmy Spittle. That was such a late manoeuvre, a bit too aggressive right there. As we see on the far side of the course, New Zealand and Great Britain, they've split away. Can they find a bit more wind and chase down those Australians?
So they'll make their way up to gate number 5, then they'll come back down, and then it'll be a short blast to the finish line with Australia looking to pick up valuable points here in race number 4. They are the 2-time reigning and defending champions, and Tom Slingsby said before the start of the racing yesterday, there's nothing the Australians love to do to come to Kiwi waters and beat them.
260-meter lead for Australia there, and it just keeps growing. 270 now.
Good game for New Zealand versus France here. New Zealand have the right of way. They were behind France at the last gate. Now they move back ahead. So slight gain to New Zealand, but there's not a lot of difference whether you go to the left of the course or to the right of the course where the French are now. So really, it's down to the execution of the manoeuvres at this stage. And Great Britain, Emirates Great Britain, really needs to pass the French here in that battle for the top 3 places.
Great shot of New Zealand. Emirates GBR right behind them.
Got him just pushing so high. You saw the boat wobble and slip. That was just because they got a little bit high out of the water. They start to lose grip and the boat slides sideways. But it just shows how hard Burling's wanting to push things. But the Australians have slowed right down on the top of screen. They've got a big, big lead, so there won't be any panic yet.
So that lead now under 200 meters, which was closer to 300, but they are on leg 5 of 7. So it'll be one more leg once they get to this gate number 5 down and then back up to the finish line.
New Zealand and France, it's going to be tight here. Well, they're just absolutely tied together on a piece of string, really. Tight cross. New Zealand must be safely across. It's really tight again. Be interesting whether the French decide to protest here. I think it was probably okay, but we'll hear maybe from Craig Mitchell at some stage. Nothing yet. I think he was clear ahead on board New Zealand there, and still Australia. They're stretching that lead again. Back into good breeze, sailing fast.
Constant communications on board Australia as Tom Slingsby's asking his tactician to keep an eye on traffic about. So he already knows that it's going to be New Zealand and GBR as they make this turn to the right-hand side.
This is the final downwind leg here. Downwind, they turn away. Look at the acceleration there, up to 75. There's so much less drag when you're going downwind. The boat just goes a lot faster. Potentially just 1 or 2 manoeuvres left. And again, New Zealand and France absolutely neck and neck. Right of way with the New Zealand boat here. If the French stay inside that circle, oh my word. Great move by Delapierre. It's so tight, but they're going to split away from each other. And New Zealand, well, that was the favoured way to turn left. Good news for the Kiwi crew at this point, but he's got to watch out for Denmark here. So close. Wow.
It's crucial here for the French team not to make any mistakes. By placing a place ahead of the British team, it really helps them in this battle for the final. At the moment, with these current results, you would see New Zealand, Great Britain and France all within 2 points of each other going into race 5.
And remember, it's only the top 3 teams that will race in the final race of the day. Australia doing themselves a solid right now as they lead with a huge margin. New Zealand sits in second, France in third, and Great Britain trying to make gains. The Americans, Stevie, they were up into 4th, and then they got that penalty on Switzerland, which has dropped them back to 6th.
Yeah, I mean, the standard's so high now that if you make a mistake and you get a penalty, it's just too costly. We saw the Australians here. They've done a really nice job in this race. That should put them right back in the hunt for the overalls. I think a second place for New Zealand will nearly definitely put them in the final already. They were nearly 7 points ahead already here. So that's good news for the New Zealand fans on the shoreline there. But the French, they're charging down. Has he got the line right into this final turning mark? It's going to be really close at the bottom. Potentially a last-minute dive in from Delapierre. Yep. He has the right of way. New Zealand must let him in there. Oh la la! So close, but France, can they stay on the foils? It's going to be a sprint to the finish. The French must keep clear of New Zealand.
As they make a turn to the finish line with Australia already in the winner's circle, and France goes a little bit wide.
Penalty, France.
Oh, and France does get a penalty. So Australia gets the win in race 4. The Kiwis hold on for second, and France now an opportunity wasted.
Well, and there could be another boat coming in. The French haven't finished yet. I think they're going to sneak across in third, but Great Britain was there. It's going to be a photo finish. Well, I don't want to call that one. Potentially, GBR got there before the French. I'm not sure. That was so close on the line. And what a result for Diego Botín and his Spanish crew in 4th. Brilliant result by the new driver on Spain there. Great job. Sorry, 5th place for the Spanish. My mistake. Canada coming home there just ahead of Denmark. Wow, that was a really close finish, and that's going to have done some serious changes on the overalls. Can't wait to find out if Great Britain did sneak past the French on the line. That could be a really costly penalty for the French.
Everyone's feeling a little sporty wanting to get after this first race.
Well, we're just so excited to be back, aren't we? Did you hear Lisa down there? I mean, she is absolutely frothing with excitement about getting racing. 1:05. The box is a little bigger for the start today. Teams are already on that run in here.
1 minute to go now before the start of race number 1 here in New Zealand.
It's just worth drawing your eye to the start line, the red line, left-hand side of screen, and that blue triangle coming off the start. That's the theoretical perfect place to start. Should give you the best compromise of distance versus speed to Mark 1. All the crews know that, though. So really the priority is hitting that line when the clock goes 0 at full place, and the manoeuvring now is crucial. Germany have chosen to cut back early. Their starting was incredible. Here we go. It's heightened on board. It's tight in the middle. Oh, there could be a collision in the middle of the line there. Oh, my word. Rockwool, Denmark and Canada. Rockwool, Denmark had to keep clear. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Big moment. Anyway, back to the boats. Australia, bottom of line, well positioned. New Zealand, top of line. The two big guns firing here with 15 seconds to go. New Zealand are going to be fast and loose at the top of line. Australia, how's their timing going to be? With Giles Scott coming through. 6 seconds to go. New Zealand winded up at the top of the line. France winded up at the bottom of the line. Watch for its turn. White. We go. New Zealand absolutely flat out at the top of the line. They're going to struggle to control the boat with those big foils from here. France on the inside should lead at Mark 1, but it's going to be a sprint.
Quentin Delapierre and France very fast off the line as they approach mark number 1, and we are off and racing here in New Zealand.
Oh, Switzerland have managed to find a way through there. Nathan Outridge's first racing on the tiller of the Swiss boat. Great job. Australia in the pack. New Zealand on the outside of the pivot there. They're going to tactically struggle. And Delapierre, well, he's one of the pre-race favourites in Big Breeze, and he's led the fleet away. Okay, New Zealand need to get into that boundary for protection. All the boats start to turn, but they've got to keep clear of Australia there on board Canada. Big contact. What? That was unthinkable there. They weren't in the boundary. I don't know that Canada can turn in front. That's a massive incident there. Oh my
major
word.
damage.
Major damage to the Australian boat. That's a day ender potentially there. I don't know what they've caught. Have they caught something in the water? France lead away to the bottom mark. They're going to turn left, trying to keep things simple. Great Britain turn back on the right of way here. France, Switzerland, New Zealand up to 4th.
So we've got confirmation that the Australian team hit that mark. That's what we saw turned upside down underneath the boat.
So the safety crew on the scene, they'll attend to Australia. Remember, they are the overall leaders on the season with an 8-point lead over New Zealand. But right now in race number 1, it is France, Switzerland, Emirates GBR, and New Zealand, your top 4.
It's a big moment there because really Canada had to keep clear of Australia, and Canada have turned at the mark. They're slow. Oh, it's a big incident. We're going to have to get the umpire's take on that because that seemed a busy moment. But the most important fact right now is France out in front, and they're going to try and sail this course as simple as possible. Coming back on board, right-hand side of our screen. Look at this tight moment in there. Oh, huge moment in the pre-start. That's the United States and Canada. Canada needed to keep clear of the United States there. If there was contact, it could be an absolute smorgasbord of penalty points. Here we go, Australia. They were forced to turn away here. They set up for the turn. You can see a sudden turn needed to be made to keep clear of Canada, but he just books that mark. Wow, massive contact. Huge contact. We're going to see if we can get the Roos back racing. We'll hear more from them soon, but I think they just, you see here, Canada turn away from New Zealand, but they turn straight into Australia, and Australia have the right of way. Oh, that's an unbelievable moment. Unbelievable for the Aussies.
A lot of drama to unpack on the first 2 legs of the first race here on Super Sunday. So back to live racing action. We are on leg 3 of 7, and it's still Quentin Delapierre and the French out in front. Stevie, amidst all the people talking about this race and the conditions, the experts really seem to favor France in these very tricky conditions with this heavy wind.
We've seen it before. Their maneuvers, especially in this breeze, are second to none. We see them entering all their maneuvers with one of the highest entry speeds and also a very high rate of turn, which means they're losing that minimum amount of distance every time they change direction.
And more importantly, Emily, they are only 7 points out of that 3rd and final spot on the podium for the overall. Denmark currently holds it down with 52 points. The French sitting on 45 points, 3 back of Spain, who sit in 4th.
Yeah, it's definitely a very tight leaderboard at the moment, especially now that we've had more incidents today. There are going to be more penalty points on that board, which is definitely going to mix things up. That could be a blessing in disguise as well for Great Britain, who obviously already have -8 points. But if you've got more teams getting penalty points, it kind of helps them a little bit there.
game changer, though, Stevie, for the Australians. And I don't know how they just obviously didn't see that, or was that just in their blind spot?
Well, yeah, I think just to clarify what happened there, that the Canadians and New Zealand had got into the protection from the boundary zone. They were entitled to turn, despite turning onto what would traditionally be not the right of way. They turned. Australia had to give them room on the boundary, so it is Australia's problem that it happened. And yeah, they're going to have a big job getting back in the race. But yeah, no foul Canada, no foul New Zealand in that situation, just to clear it up.
Yeah, copy.
Okay, nice, guys.
The chatter continues, voices relatively calm despite the chaos down on the water. It is still France out in front. Nathan Outers in the Swiss, Stevie, sitting in second place, and Emirates GBR, they are in third.
It was really interesting just there where we saw them drop the board and we saw the bow of Emirates GBR just dip down and kiss the water, and heard on board them just go, whoa! And it's just the adjustments using these light air boards and finding the correct setting that they need to be dropping them at. Because if they're slightly too negative on rake, when they drop that foil, it sucks the hull down. And clearly they're just a little more than expected.
This would be a huge reward, Stevie, if somehow France can get themselves into the event final. They have come so close the last few events, missing out just by a point or two. And here they are taking firm control of this event on race number 1. Remember, we've got 3 fleet races, and then only the top 3 teams will go into the event final later today.
Yeah, I mean, the French have done a nice job in these windy conditions, and they like an open course. The way they like to sail the boat, they sail it pretty fast and free, often sailing a bit more distance, but they just are able to really let it rip, and these are perfect conditions for the French out there at the moment. They're trying to minimise those manoeuvres now, and they're also tending to stay offshore a little bit. There's slightly clearer wind away from the shore, and the French are making the most of sailing in more wind.
The French nearly picture perfect from the get-go, and they are pulling away from the rest of the fleet. We go down to the water. Lisa, what can you see, and did you have a good view of what happened with Australia and Canada?
Yeah, I was actually sitting right on the boundary and saw it all happen. I mean, these marks, they're dark blue, they're hard to see, and it gets super congested after Mark 1. Everyone's trying to execute that first jibe with boundary protection or not. So, you know, I'm surprised there aren't more incidents on that turn normally, and that was a massive impact. They're just dropping their jib now and backing off that mark. But yeah, real impact on that team, and they're going to be gutted because these are really their conditions, and to watch everyone else be able to sail around like this, it'll be really tough for them. But France are just showing us how it's done out here in New Zealand. They're pushing every moment, but they've split the course with France and coming head-to-head now.
And this really changes the dynamic, Stevie and Emily, because Australia is the overall leader after 8 points. But Stevie, you said this could be an event changer for them. They could be done for the day. We saw Emirates GBR get the 8 points docked for the collision on practice day, so it takes them out of it. So really, we're looking at 8 teams battling for 3 spots at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, the Australians are possibly the only boat in the fleet that can afford a mistake like this. They've got that much of a season lead at the moment. But right out there on the course at the moment, we can see New Zealand are managing to really find the fastest route around this course. They're closing down on the French. They were way back in the pack. They're tending to sail on their own. They're trying to keep their own space, stay out of phase with the other boats would be a priority. And when they next turn the boat here, ladder lines show we're nearly level. When they come back together with the French, they'll have the right of way. Good chance for the Kiwis to take the lead right now.
Yeah, and I can tell you at the moment, the Kiwis have been averaging 57 kilometers an hour of speed around this course, while the French second fastest at 56.
And check this out. If you look at the overall season standings, if New Zealand would go on to win this event, get the 10 points, that would take them to 68 points. The Australians would get 1 point for being here. That would put them at 67.
Oh, that's an early if, mate.
67.
That's an early if.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was a lead change there. Big gains by the New Zealand crew. They're very much in phase with the wind shifts here. They're minimising distance on this upwind leg well, and yeah, generally got better boat speed. They're well set for gate 5. They're probably going to need to do one more manoeuvre. They'll turn right. France have the right of way as we come into gate 5, but the Kiwis look like they're far enough ahead at the moment.
Very impressive performance here from the Kiwis, who also had the least amount of training time at the start of the day today, as they got a little bit of foil damage when they were on their way out to the racecourse. All sorted before the race started. But
here we go, tight moment here. France have got it wound up. Look at the speed, 62 kilometres an hour. New Zealand have to keep clear. They choose to dip behind. It's going to be neck and neck at this final turn downwind mark here. Right of way at the moment with France in the lead. New Zealand second. There's nothing in that.
Great speeds there as New Zealand touches 80 kilometers an hour, and they split the course. So now it is all on. Who will take the win in race number 1? Gate 5 is complete, and the French now going back and forth with the lead with the Kiwis.
Well, when they come back together, New Zealand are going to have the right of way in terms of they'll be on starboard tack with wind coming over the right-hand side of the boat, but France are going to be on the inside for this final turning mark. It's a big moment here. Kiwis and France. Delapierre's not going away. He's not handing it to the locals.
Leg 6 of 7 on race number 1, and Quentin Delapierre on the left side of your screen. Here comes Peter Burling and the Kiwis, and this will be a tight crossing, as Stevie pointed out, the Kiwis having the right of way.
Yeah, that was a sensible, that's a wise head on young shoulders, Delapierre there. I think he thought about pushing it inside the Kiwis, but a second in this first race is a solid start. Don't get yourself into an incident where you risk losing more places. Kiwis nailed it. There was no mistake on board that New Zealand boat down there. If they don't make a mistake, you just got to continue to make the next right decision. And Delapierre, that was a wise move. Look at the fans, they're going to be loving that.
The black foils bring it home now. It's final 100, 200 meters to go as they will cross the line. The first race of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix in Christchurch goes the way of the home team. The black foils get the win in race 1. France with a very impressive race. They check in second place, so that's 10 points and 9 points going to the Kiwis and the French. Spain will finish in third, and that's huge.
It's a good work by Spain. Great Britain, good result for Giles Scott. But I tell you what, that was an ominous performance by the black foils, because that was not a great start. They hit the line well, but they were a bit out of position, being at the top of the line on the outside of the wheel, coming downwind, and they just sailed the whole way back through the fleet. It was really dominant display by the black foils there.
Phil Robertson and the Canadians involved in a lot of drama there on that first race. They come through in 5th place, and it looks like Germany will hold on to 6th. So Germany claims 6th, and it looks like Nathan Outteridge, who was sitting in 2nd place for a time being, he will come in 7th.
Oh, we got some confusion here at the finish.
I think the Danes missed it.
I think the Germans and the Swiss have gone the wrong way through the finish there. That motorboat to the top of the screen's the finish line. Switzerland and Germany. Oh, bit of an error here. Big error, in fact. Big error. They've sailed the wrong finish line. USA, they got it right through the gap there. Chaos, of course, you've got to remember back to the beginning, the Australians took out the finish mark.
Yep.
So they've changed it up, put the rib in as the top end of the finish, and I think Germany and Switzerland have made a mistake there.
We will sort out. What we do know is the first 5 teams are through clean. That's New Zealand, France, Spain, Great Britain, and Canada. And there is the situation. That is the league-leading 3-time reigning and defending champion Australians, winners of the last event. Stevie, that is not good.
No, that's really not good. I mean, everyone's safe on board. We're going to get a replay on board the Australian boat here. Of course, they had to turn suddenly. You can see they're not really ready. They're not expecting to have to turn. That boundary came up real quick. And I almost, to me, looks like he could see the mark, but he just had to avoid a collision with the other boat. And, yeah, it was obviously...
Look at this angle.
Look at that. Oh, my days. But, yeah, he's thinking I've got right of way here, but there's a boundary to the right-hand side of our screen that New Zealand and Canada are allowed to turn, even though they're turning onto what would traditionally not be the right of way. So they avoid that collision, but, oh, my word, big impact. And that's the best of the best there. 42 seconds to go. Well positioned is Dylan Fletcher for that optimum spot on the start line. The red start line there, the blue triangle's where they'll be wanting to hit, but all they'll want's boat speed. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on board Slingsby's Australian boat with 25 seconds to go. All the boats are well spread out here. It's all going to come down to acceleration, execution from here. Australia first to turn the boat towards the line. Emirates, Great Britain, well, 150 metres back with 15 seconds to go. Now they start to wind it up. 12 seconds to go. Spain late to turn. They attack Fletcher on board Emirates, Great Britain. Tom Slingsby winds it up. Here come the Aussies. How's your timing, Tom Slingsby? Oh, it's perfect from Fletcher, it's perfect from Slingsby, but Slingsby's got the faster angle into Mark 1, and can he break the overlap? I think he will. They're absolutely flying on board Australia here.
Oh, and Dylan Fletcher goes right at him.
Oh, it's going to be a protest there. That's tight. I think the Australians have kept clear. Spain are tight on the inside, and Australia are going to lead around Mark 1 just with Emirates Great Britain in control tactically.
And the Rolex sprint leader, Australia, they have been serving up a master class on the waters here in Auckland.
They're close to the boundary here. It's going to come down to execution. The British boat has a slight wobble on that first manoeuvre. They're off the foil on board Great Britain. That's a disaster for the British. At this level, you cannot make that mistake. Spain have executed well, Australia have executed well, and Emirates Great Britain are going to be out the back.
Stevie, we've seen this movie before when you've got teams like Emirates GBR in Australia doing battle, and that lets the Spanish and Diego Botín slide back into the picture. They were in third at mark number 1, and now they are looking very good, just 100 meters behind the Aussies.
Yeah, but 100 meters at this stage of the race is a lot, and this Australian boat's been the form team. Spain will be set up to go right. Slingsby's going to match that. Fletcher's got to find something from here. I think now it's a case of, does that Australian boat, whatever that little gremlin was, has it cleared up? Does Slingsby feel confident, because the Australians are in pole position at gate 2 and all the other boats are going to be following them, which is absolutely perfect for them.
No surprise here, the Australians won 2 of the 7 fleet races to get to this point, but to Stevie's point, race number 7, they retired after only 2 legs, reporting problems on board. Looks like the shore crew did a great job getting them back and running here in the final.
Yeah, well, let's remember there's $400,000 up for the winner of this race, Todd. So there's plenty of motivation beyond just the overall points. Professional athletes they may be, but they'll still love that prize money. And it's going to come down to the really strong execution. Nice turn there. They tack the boat through the wind. Brilliantly executed. Boat already heeled on top of them there. Draper, the wing trimmer, well, he's slotted into this team so well. Absolutely seamless. And the Spanish are catching, but Australia, great controlling position at this point.
Emirates GBR dropping back to 3rd after that little skirmish with Tom Slingsby and the Australians. So now it's a match race within 100 meters between the 3-time champions, Australia, and the Spanish, going 1 and 2. Winner takes all here.
There we go, our Rolex chasing time shows they're just 7 seconds in it. They're really tied together here. See the different colours on the water there, Todd, the different textures to it. Shows there's really variable wind out there. Australia sailing into a lot of breeze right now, and expect to see them start accelerating. Draper says a header, that means it's taking them away from the mark, which strategically will be good news for them. Spain are going to lose a few meters to the Aussies here. Look at the speed difference as Australia hit that gust of wind.
Good angle, good angle.
Oh, that was a bit messy, that manoeuvre there. They didn't quite get that right. Good enough. Draper's happy.
Like a lolling header on the nose where you ain't their best early. Yeah, copy.
Flight controller Jason Waterhouse crosses over, and now the entire team on the right-hand side.
It's very calm on board, isn't it? Real calming voice from Chris Draper there. A lot of experience as a wing trimmer. Stepped away to do a bit of coaching last season, but Slingsby snapped him up when he heard he was free and he'd lost Carl Langford, and wow, what a signing that seems to be right now.
At the bill. Nice, clean lap to you guys.
That's really all they need right now, Todd. Clean lap, just got to stay away. Over 200 metres ahead here, and let's be honest, they look faster, don't they? Spanish are doing a nice job. Great Britain struggling to find much option to get back in the race, and the Australians, well, it's theirs to lose from here.
So it's down, back up, and down again before the finish of this event final, and now it is Australia starting to pull away here on leg number 4.
Bingo. Nice angle, Tash.
Tash Bryant on the wheel now, steering out of that manoeuvre. Brilliant form from the Australians. 100% fly time. Look at that on the top of their wing, and they're just executing the best manoeuvres in the fleet at the moment. Don't want to jinx them. 4:07. Here we go. Come back to the start, and the Australians and the British were absolutely perfect, but it was Australia with the faster angle to Mark 1. They just kept clear of Fletcher, and maybe Dylan will be regretting that second little dig he took at the Australians after Mark 1, because it was brilliant from both boats. We're on board the Australian boat here. Here comes Great Britain, tries to push push Australia. Slingsby reacts, and now he's just clear ahead. I'm sure it was tight, but all was good from the umpires. On board Mark 1, what a view that is as we see how tight it is and the speed they come in. Just clear ahead there, and the British on the inside, but he needed to maneuver away a little earlier.
Back to live racing action at gate number 4, the DP World Gate. They split the course this time, so Australia going to that favor side, which they have used so many times before. Spain decides to go closer to the shore and right in front of the fans, and it's Emirates GBR in third.
Oh, you just know any time you get a split in the race like that as the leader, you're nervous. As soon as you get some separation, a change in the wind means that it could benefit that other team. So Spain right now, have they got more wind? To me, they look like they're going well. Let's come in. Here we go. The Oracle Cloud tells us their wind strength is pretty similar, but Spain are quicker at the moment. Tash Bryant's calling across to Australia by 1. It's a gain to Spain out of the bottom gate there. The split has paid off, but it's Australia now heading towards that windier side. Lisa, who's heading to the most breeze right now?
Well, Stevie, it's pretty hectic out here. I think it was a big gain by the Spanish team, so it's going to be neck and neck at this top gate.
There we go, the Rolex chasing time, Todd, down to 4 seconds. Right of way will be with Australia if it's close when they come back together, but it could be a split again at the top gate, and it'll be all about who finds the most wind out of this top gate.
The gap keeps coming down, and Spain still believing that they can get the win and take down the mighty Australians. And here we go. It comes down to this final leg. This is like 5 of 7. They'll get to this gate, and then the race is on.
Yeah, the Spanish look like they were in good wind there, Todd. I wouldn't be surprised to see another small gain to the Spanish here. They could be absolutely neck and neck. Right of ways with Australia. Our ladder lines show a 50-metre lead to Australia. I think it could be closer than that when they come together, but the Spanish are going to turn right. The water looks choppier that side. It's going to be higher risk. Big gain to Spain here. Can they dive on the inside? Could be a last-minute dip behind for Spain. No, they drop the board. They're going to try and dive inside. I'm not sure that's the right move. I do not sure that's the right move. He's going to try and force Australia wide. Oh, it's so tight. They've executed it well, but that was too aggressive for me. I think he should have split the course. Green from the umpires, no penalty. I think the Spanish should have gone the other way and tried to take the split there. That was a mistake for me.
So Diego Botín rolls the dice, and it comes up snake eyes there on that last gate. Stevie, they go to the other side. There's more pressure there, and now they split away.
Well, they've split away now, but I think they had the chance to just dip straight behind the Australians there. Anyway, very easy sat here from this booth. Diego clearly thought he had a shot at it. He tried it, but they just couldn't stick the manoeuvre. It's now just about, can the Australians do 2 more foiling manoeuvres to get round this final turning mark, and then it could be a victory in front of those Kiwi fans.
And look at the lead now, ballooning to 200 meters. Chasing time is 11 seconds. So Tom Slingsby and the Aussies, all they need to do is be clean around this last gate, and it's a straight shot to victory lane.
Yeah, they're going to make this, Todd. They're in 1 here, so it's just about the roundup. Beautiful downwind leg by the Aussies here. 2 300-meter gain. Here we go. Going to get to do it in front of the Kiwi fans.
And the Emirates fly time, 82% for Tom Slingsby and the Flying Roos as they bring it home. And there's the finish line. The sold-out crowd will bring them home. They'd rather see black foils, but they're going to see green and gold as they come to the line. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Australians.
Oh, well, they've been the form team of the event. They deserve that big celebration. We keep saying, up against, you've got to remember Spain are the defending champions. Right. That's going to mean a lot to Tom Slingsby. He's not won for a while. He's going to love that. Oh, something's gone wrong there. Too much cant put on by the foil controller. Joe Cardona there, that's a mistake, but it's not going to hurt them too much, but it did get Diego excited.
And they do bring it across safely, so Spain will finish in 2nd place, pick up 9 points on the season, and another strong showing. Top 3 finish at the event. Emirates GBR will finish in 3rd after they finish 2nd at the first event here in the start box.
7 legs. The axis is 080. Wind is approximately 29 kilometers per hour.
That's race manager Melanie Roberts spelling things out. So, Stevie, here we go. Everyone going to play a little cat and mouse here. Who's going to blink first?
Oh, I can't wait. This, for me, is a dry... This is the last chance for New Zealand and Australia to land a punch on each other before the grand final in San Fran. Looks like they're going to be in it now. And, well, can Canada come and spoil the party? But I'm expecting a big, big fight between Australia and New Zealand.
Under a minute to go before the start of the final here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Christchurch. The Kiwis a little late coming in.
I think they're just trying to set it up to make sure they can line themselves up relative to the other boat. He's letting the other teams make the first move. Australia likes that, but Burling likes to be a bit more reactionary. He's going to see what they set up, see what opportunity presents itself for him with 35 seconds to go. What's the next move? Pole position, that blue mark on our line to the right of the screen, that's the optimum place to start on the line. I think that could be a little bit late by New Zealand, though. They're turning back. They're going to look to push Australia back towards the start line. We've got a pusher and a blocker here. It's going to be tight. Canada are well positioned. New Zealand need to get a move on here. They've got to start rolling over the top with 10 seconds to go. It's going to be a straight line drag race in. Canada are well positioned, but New Zealand are coming in hot. 3 seconds to go. Watch for the line to turn white. Blanket start there, and I think it's going to be a case of can New Zealand be fast enough? They're going to struggle to get round the top, but if anyone can do it, the Kiwis can do it. They've got to keep clear of Australia, and Canada are hanging on the inside.
And at mark number 1, it is all on here in the big final at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Christchurch, and it is the Canadians out in front. Stevie, Emily, this would be their first final victory if they could pull it off.
Great start by Phil Robertson under pressure. He's in a good position. There's gate 2. Canada set up for the first turn here, and New Zealand are going to be held out by Australia. This is going to come down to the accuracy of manoeuvres here. It's so close. The Canadians are probably not quite as quick as Australia, but there they go. Both boats turn simultaneously, and it's another sprint. Australia on the inside. Canada have the right of way. Australia must keep clear, but that's a boundary there. He can't push the Australians into that. He's going to have to let them have room. Here we go. Canada's going to be aggressive now. Watch out. Australia must keep clear. Another aggressive move from Robertson.
Disappointing speeds from the Kiwis at the moment. 10 kilometers an hour slower than the other two teams.
Just sailing in that disturbed wind for New Zealand being at the back of the pack. I would imagine a right turn here for New Zealand. Canada, great move by Robertson, really aggressive. And Australia are pushed back to third. New Zealand dive in, but Canada are a little bit slow as they turn up. All three boats are making some small mistakes. Canada turn left, they get the first pick, and it's Burling's New Zealand up to second.
Pete Burling calling for the high mode. The Aussies right behind him.
He's trying to force the Australians out of his way at the moment. Until he gets to the boundary, the New Zealand boat can't turn because the right of way would be with Australia. As he gets to the boundary, he'll get protection, but Canada, they're sprinting away on the other side, able to sail fast.
On the other side of the course, Canada are doing 55, 56 kilometers an hour. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of the course, we have the Kiwis and Aussies doing 40 kilometers an hour. Huge difference.
This is the umpires. Boundary penalty, Australia.
He's got to lose 20 metres there, too aggressive. That we kind of felt it might happen. They're trying to land punches on each other. They've gone slow. It's opened the door for Canada. But now, New Zealand are in space. They're 100 metres behind the Canadians. They've got some chasing to do.
In the grand scheme of things, New Zealand and Australia can give away points to Canada. They could let the Canadians get this first overall win for their program. Canada sits in 7th place overall on 49 points. Australia has 76, New Zealand 64. But, Stevie, you know these two guys. Pete Burling, Tom Slingsby, they've raced against each other, and they're not going to give each other an inch.
Todd, I've not spent a lot of time in New Zealand, but I can tell you one thing. Kiwis don't like losing in New Zealand. This is their home turf. They want to win for the fans. They want to win for themselves. And they're not going to like seeing Canada out in front. But also, let's not forget Phil Robertson. Yes, he's driving the Canadian boat. He's got a Kiwi accent too.
So Robertson, who used to sail for Spain, New Zealand by birth, and here he is sailing for Canada, trying to give them their first SailGP Grand Final victory.
Look at the lead come down, 60 metres, it was 100 metres, so the New Zealand boat is chipping away, but once again, Robertson lines them up. He's going the same way. He's limiting the opportunity for the Kiwis to overtake. They're going to have to use that boat speed that we saw on day one.
by staying close to the other teams, he's making sure he's in all the same wind shifts. So that means if the Kiwis get a different shift, Phil will get that as well, and they can cover, stay close, minimize losses.
Phil Robertson and Canada out in front, leg 3 of 7. This is the big final from Christchurch as we go down on the water, and Lisa Darmanin.
Well, Phil has the opportunity to just keep it simple. He'll probably do a left turn at this top gate, and the Kiwis will have to do another maneuver, while Australia may lay one and in to this left turn. So it's all on for this next cross.
So at gate number 3, it is Canada. Phil Robertson, the driver. Second place belongs to the Kiwis and Peter Burling. And third place, Australia, the 2-time reigning and defending champions. And first place overall after 9 events, Australia.
It's tight for those two back there. Australia went out of bounds twice on this upwind leg, but those penalties haven't really hurt them. And here we go, 12 seconds the advantage for Canada over New Zealand. That's a slight stretch from where it was at gate 2. We're halfway through the race, and now the fleet's spread out a little bit. It's a little bit more of a battle of boat speed, but the Canadians, no problem with their boat speed right now. Look at that, 74 kilometers an hour, stretching out, and New Zealand, they're just struggling to keep pace with the Canadians.
They're already talking about the next gate, Stevie and Emily. They're looking for something.
Throwing back to that previous leg of the race, we can see that the Canadians averaged 53.4 kilometers an hour, while both Kiwis and Aussies were too busy battling each other out and a lot slower. It's less than 50.
Oh, in the back, Canada! Look at the jibe, Todd. They've fallen off. They turned the boat. They flew too high. They're back on the foils now, but they're going to have lost distance and they're going to be rattled. Can they recompose themselves? Opportunity now for the New Zealand boat to shut the distance, but it sounds like they've got it back under control on Canada, maybe just in time.
So that lead now down to 100 meters, and it is New Zealand breathing down the neck of the Canadians.
It's going to be tight here. We're back under 100 meters. We're going to have to be thinking New Zealand will want to try and split away from the Canadians here. If Canada turns right, you can be sure New Zealand will want to turn left.
And they're going to follow him.
They're going to follow. I'm surprised at that. Must be really feeling there's a big advantage, or perhaps he just thinks by breathing down their neck, he can force another mistake.
Uncharacteristic mistake by the Canadians. They were almost 300 meters clear, and now their lead down to 67 meters.
There you go, first to turn away New Zealand. Obviously like the advantage there. Australia, they match maneuvers with the Kiwis, and Canada, well, they're sailing well in towards the shore here. Can they clear that boundary? The 3 posts we see there, they're not allowed to sail between that. If Canada has to dip round the edge of that red one, I think this could be a mistake by the Canadians.
And look at the speed difference.
Yeah, they're so fast. That's because Canada are trying to get above this green post to our left here. He's sailing closer to the wind, so he's going slower, but he's going to save himself some distance. Leads come down. When they turn in a minute, New Zealand will have the right of way. This could be a race, an event-defining moment here. Canada have given the opportunity to New Zealand, and New Zealand are on fire.
And New Zealand has overtaken the Canadians, their first lead of the race. So it's New Zealand, Canada, and Australia here in the final race, leg 5 of 7.
We've got those average speeds there. Canadians marginally faster at the moment, but we did see them lose all of that distance from avoiding the obstruction.
Yeah, here we go, right of way with New Zealand. Canada must be confident they're across. If they cross, they'll have control back as we get towards the top of the course. Well, that was a big save by the Canadians, but this is going to be really tight at the top of the course. Can't afford any more mistakes here.
Phil Robertson, the top of your screen. Canadians currently in first place. Peter Burling sitting in second with the home-standing Kiwis.
There on the top left, we've got the distance to lead us, 16 meters, and dropping now towards Canada.
It's really tight, but when they come back together, it'll be Canada with the right of way here until they get close to the gate. Australia, they've dropped back. I think they're out of this at this point. It's all about, can the Kiwis put enough pressure on Canada and find a chink in that Canadian armour? Nice turn there. They're neck and neck on the ladder lines. Canada have the right of way. Canada set up. They're going to try and block the New Zealand boat here. Here we go. Great manoeuvre by the Canadians, but how are they lined up for the gate here? It looks tight. New Zealand are quicker. Oh, it's so tight.
It's going to be the first to the yellow circle. Who's going to get there first and control it? It looks like Canada's opting for that right-hand side. Does Peter Burley split with him?
Canada will have the inside, but they are slow at this point in time. New Zealand are going to look to try and slingshot down inside and control the next manoeuvre. Here we go. Follows, he's going to try and pressure him with the manoeuvres. This is the final downwind leg here, Todd, and Canada have done a brilliant job of hanging in. One last roll of the dice for Australia, but I think, here we go. There go New Zealand. First to turn away, it's now just a drag race.
And the wind up to 37 kilometers an hour across the course.
It's just perfect sailing conditions, Todd. Basically, we're going to see 2 more turns down at the bottom of the course here. Another mistake by Canada.
Boundary penalty, Canada.
Oh, no! That could be, they're going to have to lose 20 metres relative to the speed of the New Zealand boat. They're going to have the right of way. This might not be the end of the race for the Canadians, but that's going to really hurt them distance-wise. Here we go, one more manoeuvre for Burling. He wants to own the zone, he just said there. He wants to be right on the inside coming into this mark, and he's going to try and do a handbrake turn inside the Canadians as his final move of the event.
That's the Canadians clear of their penalty there, so foot down, full speed ahead.
Foot down indeed. Here we go. Coming downwind here fast. Which side do they line up on these posts? Can Canada get round? Canada seem to have found an extra bit of wind here. They're going so fast on that Canadian boat. The ladder lines show us neck and neck.
It does look like the Canadians are currently laying that gate.
Canada has the right of way, but do they make it down to the gate in time here?
It's all going to come down to this at gate number 6. Then it'll be the turn to the finish line. It'll either be Canada with their driver, Phil Robertson, a Kiwi, or New Zealand will take it on home waters, and it's Canada cutting in front. So despite the penalty, they made up the ground, and it'll be a right-hand turn. And how about this? A little history made in Christchurch as Phil Robertson will steer Canada to their first SailGP victory, and it comes at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix.
What a job by the Canadians. Wow, clinical there.
Just when it looked like New Zealand had put the pressure on and forced them into a penalty, it is Canada and Phil Robertson that get the job done. The Kiwis hold on for second place, and Australia will come in on third.
By getting right to the edge of the course there, he went a bit wide, but he meant he got past that boundary without doing any more manoeuvres. Absolutely pushing the limits there, Phil Robertson, but that's what he does, and what an amazing performance by this Canadian crew.